Assalamu alaikum, Momineen and viewers. Today's topic will be on the permissibility of performing zanjeer zani and self-hitting for Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Zanjeer zani is the practice of using small knives or blades to beat oneself during muharram, specifically ashura, to remember what Imam Hussain Ayaz and his companions went through on that day. How the Imam fell from his horse and his body didn't touch the ground, but he lay on the spears of the hundreds of arrows that were fired towards him by the army of Yazid Lanatullah alayhim. Now many Shias take part in zanjeer as well as beating the chest to remember the chest of Al-Hussein, although there are common misconceptions and falsehoods being formed by Sunni sheikhs and the media. I will provide Shia evidence and Quranic evidence to show how it is permissible and in fact encouraged by the Imams and the side-inner women, may Allah bless them all. Let's take a look at Al-Kafi by Sheikh Kulaini. Sheikh Kulaini relates that Jabir asked Imam Bakr alayhi salam to explain what grief meant. The most intense grief is yelling, crying, shouting and hitting the face and chest. From this narration, we can see that Imam Bakr alayhi salam explains what grieving for Al-Hussein. It is how the Shia today express grief for Imam Hussain alayhi salam. We can also see that from Bihar al-Anwar. Hadith explains that the Fatimi women tore their collars and slapped their faces because of what had happened to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Read the rest. For the like of him, one must slap his face and tear his collar. This has been ordered to us by Bihar al-Anwar. Already this is proof that we have been told to mourn in these ways. Now let's take a look at some Sunni books where the Shia were oppressed for mourning the death of the holy Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, whilst Umar ibn Khattab was allowed to mourn and express grief. Look at these references from the Sahih authentic hadith books, and down below we read that Imam Ali alayhi salam heard the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, strike his thigh to express grief. So now what have we learnt? That it's Sunnah according to Sunnis. So now we move on to more hadith where Sheikh Tusi recounts Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, explaining how extreme the descendants of Fatima alayhi salam mourned for Al-Hussein and how they were never condemned by Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. It is also a reward to cry and mourn for Hussein alayhi salam, as you can see in both hadith. It will earn you a high position in Jannah, as said by Imam Ali ibn al-Hussein alayhi salam, even a tear. In fact, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam was so saddened by it that he would explain choking on tears. Ya Allah. Now this is shocking evidence. Imam Mahdi, according to this hadith, cries blood for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. How could our 12th Imam do this, cry blood every morning? Imagine when the Sunnis say dua is enough, ignorant of the fact that the Mahdi cries blood. It was so tragic that the sky rained blood. And according to Anglo-Saxon reports all the way from England, they recorded down in books that their rivers and water had been turned into blood. And this was all in the same year as the year the Battle of Karbala took place. Lastly, I'll present some Quranic evidence. And by the way, when the Sunnis mention the Quran verse which says, self-harm is prohibited, Surah Al-Baqarah 2:195, spend in the cause of Allah and do not let your own hands throw you into destruction by withholding, and do good, for Allah certainly loves the good doers. In the same tafsir, nothing about beating the chest or performing zanjeer being prohibited is mentioned. Rather, authentic Sunni tafsir say it tells people not to throw themselves into destruction and that jihad is not necessary. So do not waste material and money on useless things, for example, which will destroy yourself. Doing matam and mourning for Imam Hussain alayhi salam is not destroying ourselves. Even at very extreme levels, it's impossible to destroy yourself. The Sunni tafsir is out of context anyway. This argument is invalid as a whole. So now we look at Sirah ad-Dariyat, where it mentions Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him's wife Sarah, receiving news from an angel that she would have a child. Out of shock and astonishment, she struck her forehead and Ibrahim did not condemn. Another way of expressing grief, but this time in the Holy Quran. Thank you very much for listening to this lecture. May Allah bless you and keep us all well, inshallah. And if you have questions, post them in the comments down below. Please like the video for support and subscribe. Grimsby Shia Islamic Mission. Syed Naqvi.